All right. Are we live with everybody, Randy?
We are.
Okay. All right. Not a ton of attendees, but that's okay. You will now be dubbed our GIS diehard, so we appreciate you making our annual business meeting. To start off, we'll talk about updates from key activities for this year. We'll move on for what's in the works for the near future. And then really this is the time for members to let the board know, let us know directly about thoughts, feelings, things you'd like us to work on, things like that. We'll let you know in order to actually speak, you'll just need to raise your hand and Randy can turn the microphone over to you to speak, or you can just drop a line in the Q&A. Now I'll be going through just kind of some of the housekeeping stuff initially, but Randy, please jump in and say, hey, we've got a question. Could you, if it's pertinent to what I'm talking about and I miss it. So with that, we will move forward. So just want to say that our newest board member got voted in, and it is Christopher, I believe it's Yake. I will find out if I'm mispronouncing that later, but yeah, Christopher got the highest ratings. We're glad to have him. We will let you know. And Chris, I don't know if he's on here. I'm not seeing him as a participant, but we will let him know. We've always got a lot of great people that volunteer, but it's one spot to fill. And so we put it out to the vote. And odds are, if there are others that are interested, that we do every year, so we do get changeover regularly, so there's always going to be more opportunities that come up. But congratulations to Christopher. We will get him onboarded here and start torturing him for his next several years. Talking about the year in review, we're going to start off at least talking about what's going on with finances, and I am not seeing our treasurer at the meeting, but that's okay. I can fill in instead. As finances go, Northwest GIS, we are exactly where we want it to be. We've got savings saved up of about, usually we float between 60 and 65K. That's kind of been the buffer we like to have just to deal with any issues that could potentially come up. So we definitely had a real good attendance with the conference this year, which more than made up for the cost of paying for it, plus the workshops we did in spring. Those were reasonably well attended, and we did subsidize that. So that was something earlier in this year we thought, hey, here's something we can do to help out, because we knew training budgets were still a little bit tight. And it just felt like and we had the means that, you know what, we can help subsidize this. We negotiated a contract with the training vendor to provide something where we would help chip in just to lower everybody's costs. It was successful enough that we will more than likely do that again for 2022. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do, but that seemed to be really well received. And then honestly, as a user group, our goal is always to try to get as much benefit to as many people as we can. Now, some of those trainings aren't everybody's cup of tea. It's not what they're interested in, but we'll try to mix things up. So those workshops we were really happy with. Yeah, as far as finances go, we're in a really good spot. I mean, obviously the last couple of years we've done virtual. Virtual is less expensive to run. So we try to pass on those fair savings on to everybody who's attending the conference, but still cover everything for all the technology that we have to purchase, and then just taking care of the annual stuff to keep the membership going. So there's really no big secret about that. Moving on to conference stats. Randy, actually, I'll let you talk about how things went for you running the conference, which I know we've done a lot of thanks, but truly, your team did a great job. I've heard nothing but good things. I know there was technical glitches here and there that happened, and anything that I saw got resolved pretty fast. So I applaud you and your team for taking care of all that. But how'd things go for you?
Thanks. It went well. I have a whole bunch of stats I just put together this morning. We had 185 attendees who paid, 5 exhibitors, 9 students, 6 map and app entries. There were 30 in the pre-conference workshop. During the conference, we had 26 sessions. I thought something that was really interesting is this year we had 1,500 messages sent. We had 1,000 sent last year using the same software, and I thought incentivizing the participation really helped folks, and we got that a lot. The people were really excited about being able to try and win that book, so I thought that was really, really good. Overall, yeah, it went pretty smooth. Yesterday morning there was some technical difficulties, some things way out of our control, but we got them all resolved and got things going. And overall, I've heard good things. People seem very happy with the conference. Lots of great feedback, and the networking side of things, speed networking and stuff, I felt like went really well. People enjoyed it. There were some technical snags there as well. People's networks at work or whatever having issues, but for the most part, it went really well, and people really enjoyed the networking side of things and really dug into it and participated, which I thought was great. We should have the videos and stuff within a week or so here, so we'll get them up on our YouTube. Just give me some give me some time to get it done, and we'll get them done. But
Oh, I understood.
that's all I have for that.
Great. Like I said, if anybody has questions, thoughts, any feedback you want to provide, I don't know if we have the chat up, but we can drop it in the Q&A just as well. So moving on for kind of talking about the workshops that we did have, just a takeaway that I got from the conference. I thought it was interesting, Randy, talking about the chats that we had, which, yeah, there was definitely a lot more communication through that, which I thought was outstanding. That's what that was for. Interesting enough, we always, looking towards the workshops, I was paying attention to what were people's key interests, challenges they were having, because we're using that information to figure out, well, what workshops make the most sense around spring. And what I found is most of the discussions seem to gravitate towards more on professional development versus the high tech stuff. It's not necessarily, well, we want an Esri conference about how to do scripting or how to do this, or some free and open source software. More of it seemed to be catered towards professional development. How do I help develop my career? I'm transitioning to a new job, networking, some of those. I don't like calling them soft skills because they're actually hard, but from what I saw with that, and I'll be taking this to the rest of the board saying, what, there was a lot of talk, a lot of the really heartfelt communication that I saw was really gravitated around that. And maybe we can provide some resources in spring to help that, because obviously I think we're seeing a need from the community that, okay, how do we as just professionals, besides the technical skills, help grow our careers, help with our paths for those things that are outside of the software. So I thought that was great to see that, and very eye-opening. All right, and if there aren't any questions or concerns about anything else that went on through the year, I know things were pretty quiet. Like I said, we were really hoping to go live. We had every intention of starting with a live conference this year, but we had to watch as just everything was unfolding, and we had to make a call about what made the best sense. And there were just too many people that reported back that, yeah, budgets are kind of traveling for half the people we would have worked with was a no-go. I expect we'll probably see a lot of that change in 2022. At least, that's the hope if the trends stick out. But from our participants, questions, concerns, or thoughts before we move on? All right, if anything pops up, just drop it in the Q&A. So looking ahead, 2022 is going to be GIS Pro. So we are partnering with the National URISA, with the Northern Rockies chapter of URISA, which takes care, I believe it's pretty much Idaho right now. So we'll be partnering up with them. National URISA is really the spearhead of the effort. So we will find our place to help fill in. I will let you know that one of our primary goals is to keep costs low for Northwest GIS members. So we are putting up the stance that, for us to participate in this, we want to make sure that Northwest GIS members get the same low cost price that a URISA member gets. So that's the big thing we're trying to do, is trying to be as cost effective as we can be. Outside of that, it's really about wherever we can help with that conference. It's really a great opportunity. The GIS Pro conference is a national conference, so it draws in a larger crowd. With a larger crowd, that also means there's just other things that conference can make available to our community that otherwise we might have been a little hard pressed if it was just Northwest GIS or even the local URISA chapter. Just bigger event opens up just other opportunities you may not have. So we're looking to capitalize on that for our membership and our region as best we can, and we'll figure out what we'll be doing in the behind the scenes with all the efforts going on. So I mean, you're going to see our logo blasted on there, but yeah, it's definitely driven by ERISA, and they've got a way that they put together the GS Pro conference. But it's outstanding that they worked with us. So we are a part of the team to make that happen. And so I am participating in the setup with that conference. So I'm looking to glean as much as I can, working with the national organization and try to get some lessons learned about, how can we fold that into our regional conferences for, whatever aspects make the most sense. So this is a good opportunity for Northwest GIS to work with a peer organization that, their conferences are a little, they're, I don't want to say higher caliber, but they are a national level. So, you could make the argument that, yeah, they bring a different quality. They might raise up the bar a little bit more than, perhaps we would at a regional event, and use that. So you'll be hearing more about GIS Pro as we roll into the new year. There'll be a lot of opportunities to volunteer, and of course for presentations, trainings, workshops. I think there's just going to be a whole bunch of stuff that's available, and that will be taking place in Boise, Idaho, around about the same time. So I believe it is in October, mid-October. So for 2023, the plan is for us to be live again, and we're probably going to look towards going to Yakima, Washington, which was on the radar for this year. The conference center was gracious enough to let us negotiate, saying, hey, this year's not panning out. Can we work out 2023? And they were great to work with. So we're going to honor that promise to them, which would be great. So Washington should be in 2023, and then 2024, not set. Oregon will be about due for us to make our way there. So we'll definitely be trying to push to say, hey, let's get something set up somewhere in Oregon, and then kind of get back on our rotation. As it stands for the moment, and this is open to discussion to the whole group, is we won't go virtual unless we have to. I felt clear feedback from our community that, yeah, we want to get back to the live conferences. I mean, we've all had to, go virtual for a lot of things this last couple of years, but there was definitely, I felt there was a hunger. Yeah, we want to get back in person and touch base. We'll do virtual as you need to, but there aren't any specific plans. Oh yeah, we're going to do virtual from now moving forward. So it's looking like we will roll back into an in-person conference, and whether or not we fold in more virtual stuff with our conferences is to be determined, but we do know there's a strong desire for an in-person event. And so we will keep working towards that as best we can. Now, all that being said, getting a little bit of mileage about working in a virtual environment I will say, has opened up our group to really look, well, what are other things we can do? We still have the annual conference, make that predominantly a live event. But, now that we can do some virtual things, this opened up things talking about the workshops, or, we can get Zoom meetings set up for, other things that might support the community where we don't actually have to have an in-person, which does require a lot more logistics. But if we're only talking about a really short duration event that's very focused on particular topics or just things that the membership's looking for, I think it's opened our eyes to the possibility that we can do this. It takes a little bit of work, but not nearly as much, as we might have thought of previously. I think probably prior to going virtual, we were going, I don't know, we're not quite sure, we're not familiar with how to do this. I don't think we have those excuses anymore. So I'm actually excited about it, because I think this opens up an opportunity for us to bring a little bit more to the community. A lot of times the money is always the hang up. And, what we do with the fees and the conferences is we try to get enough so that we can start feeding that back out to the community. So I'm excited about the opportunities that it presents for us.
We do have one question and answer Q&A from Jim Glassley. He's saying, FYI, for 2022, some companies offer special per diems when you present at a national conference. So that's something to think about too if someone's thinking of presenting.
It's good to know. All right. That is everything I had on my punch list to get out to the group. Like I said, we're in a really good spot. We've been really happy with the conference and the feedback. We're going to try to keep more going. Your board is working hard to really try to provide back to the community, but we do have our day jobs that we do. That's something we have to sometimes politely remind folks. And it's not that we don't take Northwest GIS stuff dear to heart, but this isn't something that we're able to get something out every month. So a lot of times with Northwest GIS, you'll kind of hear from us at their key times, in the spring when we push the workshops, summer when we push out the UC. And don't hold me to this, but I did hear that the UC event, at least the plans are to be live. So with that, we'll start our planning efforts for the meetups that we typically do in San Diego with that too. So we're looking forward to that, because we know for anybody that makes it to the UC, that's just a fun get together. There is very little business and a lot more fun with that one. So we're always happy to sponsor that. So I'm excited that we can offer that up again. But with that, questions, thoughts from those of you that are here? This is really your time. You get to talk directly to the board, good, bad, or otherwise. We will take it. Okay, not hearing anything, we'll let you go. But if something comes up later on, please don't hesitate to drop a line to the board about things you want. We're a very open community, and we always do want to get feedback. And we do realize sometimes the feedback is pointed, and that's okay. We need to hear about what we're doing great and what we need to make improvements upon, because honestly, as a user community, it's something I really try to focus on sitting in this role is, all right, to try to provide benefit to the community, get us networking, get us talking, because it's too easy after the conference, like, oh, great, I'll see you next year kind of thing, where it's really a shame, because the idea is to connect with those people that can help you achieve your goals. There is so much talent here in the Northwest of all these GIS users. It's just a matter of, all right, we've just got to hook up the right people to talk about the topics that are of interest. So we're always looking for ways to foster that better. All right, with that, I'll stop yakking. As I said in the conference, I hope all the important people in your life are healthy and happy as we move into the new year. We're looking forward to a lot of opportunities. So Northwest GIS, we're doing what we can for you.